Today I want to give you a tour of my new recipe book. Now I have made this to be very customizable. I want it to be a document that you can build over time and you can really make it your own and have it reflect your personal style. And so it includes two versions, one black and white version, as well as a version with colored tabs. And then you also have a number of different cover options so that you can mix and match the cover with the colored or black and white version. And like I said, really make it your own in your own unique style. So when we're in the recipe book here, we can tap in and go to our home page, which really is kind of a table of contents for the entire book and gives you some tips on how to use each section. So I'll go through each of the sections here, give you kind of a speed overview of the book itself, and then we'll go through and I'll show you some examples of how you can actually enter your recipes in and build out this notebook. So for the recipes sections, you have a number of different categories: starters, brunch, soup, salads, and then I'm also giving you one blank section that you can designate for, whatever category of recipes you might have that aren't included in this list here. So if I tap down to starters, for example, you can see I can jump to this really easily through my tabs. And this is on the right-hand side of every page of this book. And I can jump down and I have 50 recipes here. And then I actually have a whole second page. So you can have up to 100 recipes for each of the categories in this book, including your blank section. So each of these pages links out to your individual recipe page. And so all you're going to do here, I'll show you an example I actually have in here. You would add in the name of your recipe. I'm using a little sticker here to make it stand out as a family favorite. I'll show you those in a minute. And when you tap down into your recipe, you would write all of your recipe details here. There's a space for, rating it, difficulty, what it serves, really any notes you might have on the recipe. Again, I'll show you these stickers you're seeing here that are adding a little bit of decoration to the page. And then another thing that you do have on every recipe page kind of sets apart, using a digital book versus a paper notebook, is each of these is linked to some handy quick references. So one quick reference you have is your conversion chart. And then the second link on that page would have gone to these food safety temps, just easy to access and jump back to. And then the third quick reference you have is this ingredient substitutions page that just gives some helpful details if you're out of an ingredient, some things that you can substitute in. So that's linked from every recipe page in this notebook that you can get to those quick conversion links. Now, when we jump down into some of our other sections here, our recipes obviously are the bulk, but what I also wanted to include for you is some meal planning as just an extra in case you want to be able to do that all in this one notebook. And so this is really an undated meal planner that's just included in here that you could use year after year because you can easily just clear out the pages. And so for my meal planning, I would go to my month and the week that it is. So January, week 1. And right here, I'm able to build out my meal plan, write out what I'm planning to make for each meal. Then I can also make a grocery list as well. And that's really easily linked here on week 1. And then I can jump back and jump to any week of the year and plan things out accordingly. Now, another section that we have here is our kitchen inventory. So we already went through a quick reference. You remember those were the conversions. Now the kitchen inventory is kind of a living, running list that you can keep of what you have in the house to make sure that you avoid food waste. And so you'll see you have this whole page. I do give you kind of a second overflow page for each of these. Now, this is my refrigerator stock. I also have a spot for freezer stock and pantry stock. So item, quantity, and expiration date. And this is where working digitally really kind of comes in handy and is so much better than when I've tried to do this in the past on a printable, because you can write things out and you can easily delete them out, lasso, and move information up and down. And like I said, this is really kind of a living list, a living inventory. And so these are linked as well when you're meal planning out for your grocery list. I often am doing my meal planning. I'm not in my kitchen. And so it is really nice to be able to tap over. And if I am keeping up this list, I can easily see. And that's just easy to grab right from your grocery list so that you can refer back to it. And then you also do have some bonus pages here. Now, these are single pages that you can just copy and duplicate out, copy the page, and then you can paste it. And this is just in case you have a recipe you want to add some extra details for. Maybe you have a lot of notes that you want to take. So you have these 4 different note pages, blank dotted. And then I also gave you just some extra pages. Maybe you want to create a little memory page. You can put a photo of the recipe here and some extra notes. I also have this meal prepping page where you can do some extra meal prepping planning. This favorite recipes, favorite meals is a great inventory that you can add in to keep track of the meals that you're really loving. And then you also have this expanded list in case that's helpful to you too. And so these are all just single pages that you can duplicate and insert in anywhere in your book. Now, the last feature you have here are these stickers. These are included directly in your recipe book if you use GoodNotes. When you import it, you'll import a GoodNotes file, and these will all be here. If you use a different app, you'll have these pages. They'll come to you as blank pages, and you'll get all of your stickers organized into folders as PNG images, so pre-cropped, transparent background. All you'll have to do is drop them on the page to set these pages up. But if you do use GoodNotes, they're already here for you, and it will look just like this when you import the GoodNotes file. And so these are all individual sticker images placed on the page. You saw me use it over with the recipe where you can add little labels, whether you add it to the table of contents pages or to your recipes, just to give some quick call outs. Now I do also always, include some color codes so that you can coordinate with the colors of these stickers. And then you have all of these little notes. These washi tapes are really fun. You can overlap them. And they have some transparency to them. So you can add that in and get more of like a scrapbook feel on some of your pages. Now you also have these frames. You kind of have this Polaroid look. And then these are fun. You can color them in with a rating and put a picture in there. And then you get to your icons. This kind of becomes like a create your own sticker. So you have all these icons. And then you also have labels. And what you can do is a lot of mix and match and overlapping. If I grab this and then I go over, I could create, a square, a circle, and I can kind of create my own icon set by mixing and matching these. And so you have all the control over the colors, the customization. These little quotes work well. For example, if you're using kind of like a scrapbook feel, you could add this in and, maybe write a quote of what somebody said about the recipe you made. And so my goal here with this sticker set is to make it super flexible so that you can do kind of that mix and match and building of stickers, so that you can kind of create whatever feel or aesthetic and color palette that you want with this book. So that was your tour. Now let's go through and let's actually add in a recipe and see how that would work and really build it out together. So obviously there's a number of different ways recipes come to you. In this case, I'll show you the most basic of just writing something down. So let's use the example of a no-knead bread recipe. I'm going to write that there. And then of course, since I'm working digitally, I'm going to make this easy on myself, copy it, and I'm going to jump down to this page and paste this in. And the first thing I could do is I could just start, writing the recipe out here. I could just write it all out, and then I'm going to, fill in here with my difficulty level, and I could just write it all in. Now, let's say though that I have a recipe card for this. You can actually use the scanning software in your iPad to enter that in. So let me delete all of this on the page and show you how that would work. So let's say I have a recipe here and I want to take it from that card. What I'll do actually is insert a text box here, and you can choose the font that you prefer. And there's a scan option. We have to put this over my card. And you'll see you kind of have to move it around to get it to capture the full card. So once we have this on here, I'm going to have to make some corrections. Obviously, like here, it didn't understand that that's a 1. It seems like it double scanned that. So it does take a few seconds to kind of correct things. And then what you will want to do is kind of grab some of this, right? I'm gonna paste. I do have my default font set to this handwriting, which isn't actually the look I want in this book. And then you're going to have to adjust, your line sizes a bit, the text box a bit. So you can really decide, like, is this easier for you, or is it easier just to write it out? And a lot of it does depend on, what your preference is for whether this is a handwritten book or typed. But you can see here, that was pretty easy to just import it in, and then I can arrange all of that on the page. Now, another way that a lot of us are getting recipes now is online. And so you can also easily grab that text from your site online just by copying it in and pasting it into your book. And so whether you want to do this kind of handwritten or typed out, you do have a lot of options, and it just takes a little bit of formatting to get everything to fit in. But that does make it really easy to do some copying and pasting as well. So just a couple of ideas to kind of expand the way that you're using your recipe book. I like to add little pictures in and some notes on it. And of course, it's super easy to add in pictures just by snapping a picture in the app and placing it on there with a note. You know, you can use these little notes to talk about what it pairs well with. And it's nice to take notes as you go, as you make this meal for holidays. Now, another thing I like to do, I talked before about the bonus pages and how you can use these to kind of expand. Now, this recipe notes page is great to, maybe add a photo of the recipe and some more detailed instructions. But I also like to grab it. And so I would just do a quick copy page and then jump over and actually place it right after the page. So you'd go copy, or you'd go add page after, and then paste the page. And so then when you're on the recipe, you just swipe over and those extra instructions are there. Now, here's an example of a page I built out. And so I added in a favorite memory. In this case, rather than using it for extra instructions, I'm actually using it as kind of a scrapbook. So I added in a cute little picture and a quote. And then I also took a picture of the recipe card because while I do like working digitally, I don't want to lose sometimes that memory of the person's handwriting. And so I added in the photo of the recipe card here. And then I also put on a piece of washi tape just to make it feel a little more tangible. You can see that's just a piece of the washi tape from the sticker collection. And so this is just like a photo. So what you can do here in this example, I'll show you. Copy, and then go in and paste. And there you have your recipe card. So you can see how much potential there is, especially adding in your bonus pages to really build out not just a recipe book, but some memories and any extended recipes. And that's really the flexibility that comes with this book. I hope this overview was helpful and that it gave you some ideas on how to use this new recipe binder to its fullest and add some creativity in along the way. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe so you see all of my latest videos. Thanks so much for watching.